Let's start the podcast. Guess who's back? Cliff Jacks with you off the Cliff Sports. We took our vacation, a couple weeks off, visited family and friends, lots of NBA news. We're going to dig deep into the NBA today. We're going to add in a little football, little golf, little tennis, but the NBA is fantastic. We're coming up on one of the best NBA seasons that anyone probably can remember, at least for the Western Conference, that is. Kawhi did go to LA. He just didn't join LeBron for Taco Tuesday. We're going to talk a lot about who's the best in the West. My favorite player in the league right now, good old Russ. Russ is not in OKC anymore either. Thank you, Paul George. Thank you, Kawhi. The NBA has everyone so pumped up, we almost forgot football season is right around the corner. It's going to be great. We're going to talk a little about football. I'm going to try to get some analysis in on that as well. I can tell you the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is coming past. The Home Run Derby was exciting this year, or part of it was exciting. It's still too long of an event for people to just sit and watch guys get up there and hit home runs for 2.5, 3 hours. They got to figure a way to make it a little better. I mean, it was exciting, the little home run hit off they had at certain times, but other than that, got to figure something else out to add some spice to it. The game itself, it's like all baseball games. The pitchers have the advantage. And in the All-Star game, when you got all the star pitchers, they're going to have the advantage. There was 4 runs on one side, 3 on the other, but at the end of the day, the pitchers normally win out in this event. So, not a lot. American League won again, which I think that's the 3rd in a row, maybe 4th. I can tell you the Dodgers are still riding high. The Yankees, despite all their injuries, are still playing well. The Houston Astros, they still will be reckoned with. And even those sneaky Boston Red Sox, after a horrible start to the season, they're in the running. Now it's the time of the year where we're going to see who's going to start selling off all their star players and who's going to buy those star players. And we'll figure out real soon who are contenders and who are just playing the rest of the season out. That's your baseball update for this week. All right, guys, when we get back, like I said, NBA action. We're going to get deep into the NBA. Kawhi as a Clipper. Russell Westbrook to the Houston Rockets. KD and Kyrie, New Jersey Nets. And so on and so on. Off to Cliff Sports. Don't go anywhere. We're back on Off the Cliff Sports. Remember, @Cliff_sports is the Twitter handle. Off the Cliff_sports is the Instagram tag. Go out there and follow us on both of those sites. You could win something. Guys, the NBA free agency in summer overtook normally a time we talk a lot of NFL outside of Major League Baseball. But this year, it's been all NBA. The NFL is the most important sport, the most valuable sport in America. That's no doubt about it. But the NBA is coming strong. And after this summer, we went from a league of super teams where we pretty much knew there was 1, 2, 3 teams that maybe could win it all. Toronto did shock the world by winning it all this year. They didn't supposed to. We do have to say there was a lot of injuries on Golden State's side, because if Golden State was full power, they would have won the championship. But we move into a state of dynamic duos instead of super teams. And this is all because of Mr. Kawhi Leonard and his team that's orchestrated a masterful plan to get him to LA and the Clippers and not the Lakers. Steve Ballmer, owner of the Clippers, got lots of money too. So, hey, he could throw that money around and it won't mean a thing because he probably makes it back just as quick as he spends it. Just throwing that out there. But Kawhi went to the Clippers, but he didn't go alone. In the wee hours of the night behind closed doors when people didn't know what was going on and they thought he was either going to choose the Lakers or he was going to go back to Toronto. People saw that he flew back to Toronto from LA, and so the speculations went wild. You guys already heard all this. But anyway, we got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Yes, you heard me right, Paul George as Clippers. And that changed the whole dynamic of this year's NBA. We already knew Kyrie and Kevin Durant was going to team up in Brooklyn. I did call them New Jersey earlier, old habits, but they teamed up in Brooklyn for the Nets instead of playing for the Knicks and James Dolan. Who can blame them? You're still in the city, so hey. So with Paul George going to the Clippers with Kawhi, it balances out some power because if he chose the Lakers, the next two NBA seasons were over. There was no reason in watching because we knew what was going to happen. KD is hurt this year, probably won't play, so Brooklyn got a year before they get to the point where they're going to compete. So after the domino of Paul George, of course, Russell Westbrook looked left in OKC, but hey, here comes another billionaire down in Houston and say, hey, Chris Paul is 4 years older, makes almost just as much money, and he doesn't get along with my superstar. So Russell Westbrook ends up in Houston. So now you got duos all over the board. I mean, you can actually go down to Murray and Jokic in Denver. Then you got Dame Lillard and McCullough in Portland. Of course, you got the King and AD in the Lakers. Kawhi, Paul George, Clippers. Utah, you have the backcourt of Mike Conley and Mitchell. So you got to do the Spurs actually have DeMar Rosen and Aldridge. And my hometown Mavs, we got Luka and Porzingis. So you got doubles everywhere. And I'm not gonna say Clay, Steph, and Draymond because to me they're a triplet still. You need all three of them to be successful, and they all still are in Golden State. So watch out. If Golden State is healthy, they're still in this thing. When a lot of people saying they barely might make the playoffs, they got Steph, Draymond, and Clay messed up. It's going to be an exciting year with a lot of things that are going to happen. One thing is this new term, load management. So we don't know who's going to play night in and night out. That's one change in the NBA of new compared to back in my younger days when players played every game. There was no taking days off. So that's going to affect the standings. But at the end of the day, right now, it's to me a toss up. I have the Clippers. If I picked today, would be the Clippers would be my favorite. But I think Houston is going to shock some people because I do believe Russell and James Harden will play well together, and people are going to have to eat their words about one of them does this and the other one doesn't play. Russell can't shoot. All these things they say. At the end of the day, these guys are playing basketball. And as we've seen summer after summer, when these boys get in the gym, it's just them playing ball, they go at it. And that's all they got to do is say, hey, let's play ball and go at it. I'm really excited about the NBA. I almost forgot I got to get ready for fantasy football and start preparing my teams. I think the Lakers are going to be strong. Of course, DeMarcus Cousins signed with the Lakers. They got JaVale McGee back, Rondo back. They also got Danny Green to sign on as a shooter, him and Dudley. So they're going to be competitive, and I think they're going to play pretty well. I still don't really think they got the shooting they need for LeBron and AD. I think it was Shannon Sharp on television that said the pick and roll between AD and LeBron is going to be devastating. In my mind, the pick and roll between AD and LeBron means both of my defenders are going to sag off and make them shoot. So we'll see if they have enough shooting and have enough youth to get it done. AD's young, Kuzma's young, but you got a lot of veterans there, and you got a lot of names. The Lakers got a lot of names that you just know off the top of your head. All I know, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard said they the kings of LA. Those Laker Clipper games are going to be awesome. The Utah Jazz, in my mind, is going to be the number one seed in the Western Conference. I am not picking the Jazz to do anything in the playoffs, but I do think they that type of team that's going to play every game hard, and I think they're pretty solid. I think they may be the number one seed, them or Denver, depending on how they play. After such a good year, I think they may fall back a little bit. We'll see as time goes on. I got to get some more commentary from some other people on this podcast. Let you hear their opinions, not just all my opinions. But excitement is going wild. Of course, money is going wild too. A lot of people are getting paid $100 million in the NBA is nothing these days, which is unfreaking believable. There's probably 30, maybe 40 players making over $100 million, and that money's guaranteed. NFL Players Association, please pay attention. You have power. You have to take some of the owner's power away, whether it's getting guaranteed contracts, whether it's getting rid of the franchise tag. Pay attention to what the NBA guys are doing. How about meet with the NBA Players Association and the Major League Baseball Players Association? How about make a meeting? See some of the things they do. Compare notes. Your players are out there with their lives on the line every game, and it's very physical. The NBA players and the Major League Baseball players, they play hard. I'm not saying it's not contact sports, but it's not as dangerous, and they making way more money. Just a thought. I'm just Cliff Jackson, everyday Joe, just like the other everyday Joes and James. All right, guys, we're going to be back with you. Off the Cliff Sports. Stay with me. All right, we're back here with you on Off the Cliff Sports. Thank you for listening in, fans. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're not finished with the NBA, but we're going to get back on that later. Now we want to talk a little bit about some of the other sports that we missed over vacation. Wimbledon, one of the biggest tennis, if not the biggest tennis tournament of them all, was this past weekend, or the finals at least were this past weekend. We're going to start on the men's side of the draw. Roger Federer going for his 21st Grand Slam win. Came up short again. He lost in a 5-set thriller to Jokic, who was the number one seed. Federer was number 2 in Wimbledon, but he couldn't get over the hump. That 5th game went to the new tiebreaker rule, so it was like 13-11 the final score of that 5th set. Looks like as he's getting older, for some reason, he can't finish the job. Roger Federer is reminding me of a woman on the ladies' side who I think is the best women's tennis player of all time, Miss Serena Williams. Serena had it paved out for her. She was healthy going into the final. She was dominating most of her matches. She looked really good, but come Saturday, the finals, it's like a switch turned off. She didn't play like she played during the rest of the tournament. which a lot of people are now questioning. Has that final Grand Slam that she needs to tie at 24 eluded her? I mean, she's running out of chances, to be honest, because she's not getting younger. She has a daughter that she loves, and I bet you she's trying to spend as much time with her daughter rather than out practicing tennis. She has the U.S. Open coming up this year, so she has one more shot this year. I think the U.S. Open, being on her home turf, could be the one. We better hope it is. She's been catching some good draws lately, too, and that's another thing. She hasn't really had to go up against some of those top hitters. And also, we could look at that another way of saying, hey, she's doing what she needs to do to get to the finals where some of those higher seeds are not panning out. U.S. Open coming up soon, so we'll see how things work for both of those individuals, Roger and Serena, come U.S. Open time. Your tennis update on Off the Cliff Sports. We try to make sure we get to all sports. We're not a one-hit, two-hit, or three-hit trick pony. Also, the women won the World Cup. I think that was before I left, just FYI. I did hear Secret Deodorant donated $23,000 to each member of the team to try to offset some of the wage discriminations that we're seeing between the men's and the women's U.S. national teams. The way the women are winning, they need to feed more money that way and make the men earn their money, because the men aren't earning their money. It's odd though, because everywhere I go, tennis is big. Every Saturday, I see tennis. Pretty much every city I go to, they're playing. We got to figure a way to use all that playing to get it to the next level. In golf, by the time you hear this recording, Tiger may be on a plane back to the U.S. As of Thursday, he had one of the worst rounds of the day. +7 over at the Open. Tough sledding. He said earlier in the week he really wasn't feeling his best, and he's definitely showing it now. We're going to need something better from Tiger. I need Tiger to stop pressing. Just go out there and play like you're playing around with your fellows, the guys that you hang out with. If he plays rounds of golf for fun, the way he's playing golf for pay, he's in trouble. Might be time to hang it up. In my eyes, even if he stops right now today, Tiger Woods is the best golfer of all time. Hands down. He also changed the world of golf. A lot more minorities in golf now than it used to be. A lot more younger people in golf than it used to be. Golf is still expensive, but not expensive as it used to be either. There's a lot of big names that's in the middle of the pack, but it was just day one. So by the time you hear this tournament, we'll be at the weekend, and we'll really see who's about winning the Open. I would love to get to play on one of those courses just one time. It looks so cool to play on one of those. We're not done with the NBA, guys. We're going to try to hit on a little NFL also on Off the Cliff Sports. I want all you guys to stay with me. Keep your radios on. Podcasting on whichever podcast method you use. Off the Cliff Sports coming back at you. I'm your host, Cliff Jacks, back with you on Off the Cliff Sports. Let's get into our favorite segment, Top of the Cliff. Who are we inviting today? Let's get right into it. Today's Top of the Cliff is one that's dear to me because this is one of my favorite athletes of all time. And we're going to invite the writers who vote in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame players. All of those writers I want to join me on the Top of the Cliff. And for one reason. Barry Bonds, the baseball player who I feel is the best of all time, and who I feel, if you don't think he's top 5 best of all time, you've lost your mind. Let's look at Barry Bonds' numbers. 7 MVPs, 14 All-Star games, 8 Gold Gloves. For people to say he has a weak arm, he had 8 Gold Gloves. 12 Silver Slugger, 2-time batting champ, 762 home runs, most all time, and that record's probably one of those that's going to stand at least another 20, 30 years. 2,558 walks, 688 intentional walks, all major league leading records. Also, the only guy to have 400 or more home runs and steals. He actually is in the 500 club, just to let you know. No one else has gotten close. So, all of the Hall of Fame writers who cast their votes every year and for 7 years in a row have denied Barry Bonds because of the steroid era. And there are players who was on the list of steroid users who have been voted into the Hall of Fame. We have racist, criminals, players who definitely shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame because their stats don't add up. But yet, Barry Bonds and some others sit outside waiting. I don't really care as much about the others because they're not Barry Bonds, but they are probably some that have good careers, like Mark McGwire. He had a run. Big Mac was very important to Major League Baseball, as was Roger Clemens. But Barry Bonds is one of the best players of all time. In my eyes, the best. So, all you dear writers who have your votes and you mail them in and you specifically leave Barry Bonds' name off because of your pride and what you think is right because you want to be the judge and jury, please join me on the top of the cliff. Like I tell everyone, once you get to the top of the cliff, I can't tell you what to do up there, but I would love for you to join me and decide your fate, just like you're deciding not to write Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame when you could easily do it, and you know deep down that he's the best. And I think that's what really gets to a lot of you guys. You said he did something wrong, and it gives you your opportunity to punish him because he was so good. Unfortunately, I think he was punished enough because he never got that World Series championship. And it's not like he took a bunch of money to stop his team from signing players. Of course, no salary cap. But he never was able to hoist that World Championship trophy, which is the only thing I say sucks from Barry's career. All you sports writers from Major League Baseball with the Hall of Fame votes, please join me on the cliff and you decide to do what when you get up there. All right, folks, we're going to come back and get back into some basketball and we're going to squeeze a little football in. Off the Cliff Sports, coming right back at you. All right, folks, back with you here on Off the Cliff Sports. I have one of our favorite guests on the line here. We got the chef on the line here, and we're going to talk a lot of NBA. I told you guys we wasn't finished talking NBA. How's it going, chef?
I'm good, Cliff, man. How you doing?
Hey, it's been a great 2-week vacation. Saw a lot of family, but now it's back time to get to business.
It is, sir. A lot of transactions have happened throughout the sports world, and I think we need to dig into.
So we're going to start off with the NBA, of course, and the great free agent summer we've had. And first thing I want to do, I'm going to name off some players and their new team, and I want you to let me know if you think it was good or bad for the players and the team. That's how we're going to start this segment off today. So, of course, we're going to start off with Kevin Durant, the guy that some people say is the best in the game right now. He moved over to the Brooklyn Nets. What did you think?
You know, I would have to say that for his career, it's a good move, but I don't think it's going to be a great pairing with the person that he's pairing up with.
So you don't think it was a good idea for Brooklyn. So that does lead into the next guy, which is Kyrie, who we kind of knew was headed towards Brooklyn or New York.
I think Kyrie just wanted to go home. I think he's a typical NBA player. He's soft-skinned, and I think he thinks that going home he's going to be protected, but I think he forgot about the New York media.
Yeah, real good there. Next person on the list is a little lower than those two. DeMarcus Cousins comes in. He decided to go over and play with LeBron in LA. Good move for DeMarcus, a bad move?
I think that's going to be a career rejuvenation for DeMarcus Cousins. I think he has a lot to prove after the injuries he suffered in Golden State. For 2 years he's been on the shelf. So in the playoffs, a lot of people didn't see that he played very well when he did get the chance to play. So I think it's going to be a great move for him as well as the Lakers.
A B-level star here. We're going to talk about Kemba Walker. He's going over to the Boston Celtics from the Charlotte Hornets. Good move for Kemba?
Good move for Kemba because he got paid. Horrible move for the Boston Celtics because they're getting a shorter version of Kyrie.
Exactly what I said. Because Kemba is just Kyrie but shorter with less handles, actually.
Yeah, he's not a creator. Kemba has to come off of pick and rolls and screens. He doesn't create himself. One of the things is it's easy to be a number one on a team that doesn't have a 2 or a 3 or a 4. So we'll see what happens in Boston.
Kawhi Leonard going to the LA Clippers.
Once again, I think it's a player going home, someone that wants to be comfortable. I think it was a good move for him because when Kawhi is comfortable, he's somebody to be reckoned with. I mean, we saw that when he went from San Antonio and to Toronto, but I don't know about the cast that he's built around. But I wish him luck because he's an amazing player with a great personality, someone that plays the game with a true love and grit for it.
Best player in the game right now?
I wouldn't say best player in the game. I would put him top 5.
Wow. So you still thinking Kevin Durant's the best player in the game? Or are you talking about
Well, we both know that I would never say Kevin Durant's the best player in the game.
Also, you talking about the old man over there in L.A.?
Yes, I would still be on the old man and say that the reason that we're talking about all these shifts and changes is because he rewritten the rules in the NBA and how he does things. He built the super teams. Now he's building the super duos.
That is true. I'll give him part of the credit for that. I'll give him part of the credit. Let's talk about one of your favorite players, Derrick Rose, who somehow scored 50 points in a game last season, going over to Detroit.
I think that's going to be a quiet as it's kept. I think Derrick Rose will be a great addition to Detroit. I mean, they had no guard play last year. I mean, they were being led by a power forward and Blake Griffin. So, I mean, it can't get no worse for them. I mean, they were seconds away from making the playoffs with the team that they had. So, I think Derrick Rose is going to be. I'll go out on a limb and say he'll make the Eastern Conference All-Star team.
So that means you say he's going to start over what is it, Bobby Jackson or whichever one of the little Jackson guys.
It's Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. It was one
I think so, Cliff. I think Derrick Rose adds another dimension. I mean, although his knees are questionable, but if he stays healthy, he showed last year in Minnesota that he still had a pop, he still had the burst, and I think he brings a little bit of athleticism and a little more vision for Blake Griffin because we all know when Blake Griffin has somebody that can throw the hoop, that's all he does is catch him and slam him.
Al Horford going to Philadelphia from Boston.
That's one of the most puzzling moves of this offseason in the NBA. I do not understand it.
By him or by the team?
I get it by him. I mean, none of us are going to turn that $109 million, but for the team, I just don't understand how in this era of NBA where it's all about movement and creation, it's a guard-led league, and you go out and you make a team with big men. I don't get it. When you don't have any outside shooting, any kind of guard play, so now you telling me that we're going to slow down the NBA? I don't think so.
All right, and one a homer for us, I guess, which it really wasn't him picking his team, but he got traded. So what do you think about Porzingis to Dallas?
This is another under the radar move that a lot of people question about. Why would Porzingis come? Why would Dallas trade for him, and why would Dallas pair him with Luka Doncic? I think that it's about making Luka comfortable. It's somebody else that is a European player, somebody that speaks some of the same languages that Luka is familiar with, and it gives him another pick and pop person. We both saw Luka at his best when he had that pick and pop person, and Porzingis is 10 times better than what Dwight Powell is, and that gives him a formidable teammate that's going to, I'll say Dallas will be in the 5 to 6 range of the West next year.
Whoa, that's high. I don't know if they're getting up to fifth. I see 7 and 8 in their future, but they could be sneaky. We'll see. Their coach, he has to let the young players play, and sometimes he likes to hold them back.
I think one of the things that's going to be a surprise addition for the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going off tracks a little bit, but I want to hit this note real quick. I think the addition of bringing Seth Curry back to the Dallas Mavericks is going to be a great move for them, because one of the things that they suffered at last year after the trade with New York, sending Jordan to New York and getting back the guard play that they got, it was an awful trade for Dallas. You had a overzealous Hardaway. You had Courtney Lee, who's been stealing money for decades, and then
they both still there now.
they still here, yes, they are still here, but they'll be bench players. We know that they will not be starters. I mean, the only way Hardaway starts is because Mark Cuban will look over there his bank account and see that he's giving him $23 million. But unless he has a rejuvenated season, I just don't see it. I don't see him making it to the draft to the trade deadline.
I like Hardaway. I think Hardaway is a good young player, got some ability, but I mean, they're going to be led by those two young studs, so we know they're going to be led by them. So let's transition over to the new world of dynamic duos, because pretty much the NBA is all about dynamic duos. And again, the West is the best, and the East is pretty much the East is two teams in my book. You got the Milwaukee Bucks, and for some reason, which maybe I don't see it yet, all the critics and analysts still got Philadelphia up there. I mean, I guess I just am blind, but to me, the East is down to those two teams.
Well, speaking of the dynamic duos, as you stated earlier, the West is still the West. We know who runs the show. It goes to the West. The East, I have no clue. Maybe I'm blind as well. I have no clue why all the commentators and all the talking heads want to say that Philadelphia is going to be a world beater, because, like I said, you trade away, you lose J.J. Redick.
Very important.
You give Tobias Harris, who to me is a solid player, but nobody I'm going to build around. You lose the heartbeat of your team with Jimmy Butler, because let's all not forget that Philadelphia was soft as baby. I won't use the word, but we know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
They brought Jimmy Butler in, and he was the heartbeat of that team. He drove them and pushed them. You sign an unskilled big man in Ben Simmons to a 5-year, $170 million extension, and the man I could outshoot Ben Simmons, and I have never played an organized basketball game in my life.
Hey, they feel that he's the next Magic Johnson. They see it, they say. So we'll see.
I'll tell you this. As a skill set coming out of LSU, he had all the skills to be Magic. But one thing that everybody forgets about Magic, Magic could play every position on the floor. Ben Simmons is not going in the paint.
Well,
And the one thing,
he can get in the paint. I think he can get in the paint. I just think he can't shoot. Well, I know he can't shoot.
well, yeah, I'm glad you rephrased it because we both know he cannot shoot. One of the things that's hindering him is he can't shoot. His ball handling skills are suspect. As everybody wants to say that he's a great assist player, but has he? I don't think he even averaged over 6 assists this year.
No, I think he was around 7 to 8. He's okay with the ball. I don't got no problem because his body's so big. He just got to shoot. Hey, a good note and a side note: him and Kendall Jenner they are not dating anymore, so that might be a positive right there.
Well, he got the Jenner clout from the
See,
so
hey,
we'll say
so
that.
maybe that's why they think it's going to be a better year. Maybe we just missed that part.
I have to reiterate Cliff on the point where I told you this is not a big man league. We haven't saw
Twin
outstanding or
Towers,
dominant center since Shaq.
and we hadn't
So
saw Twin Towers since what, David Robinson and Tim Duncan.
yes, sir. And I don't think Harford or Embiid is going to be the Twin Towers because both of them play outside of the paint and want to be 3-point shooters. Somewhere, some fact, they think they're still in their 16-year-old body and think they can shoot threes. You know, although they shot them decently, Harford shot at like 34, 35% last year, and Embiid was somewhere in the 29 to 30 range. That's not what you want your big men to do.
That's true.
I think they need to really reevaluate with it. Unless they're going to go out and somehow in the trade deadline and find them some guards,
No,
Philadelphia will be.
it's not gonna happen. They don't have no money. Can't do that.
Well, you know what? I guess they're going to be at least I'll say, although because of the weakness of the East, they'll be a 4 to 5 seed.
All right, so we can get over to the West. Get over to the West. Who do you got? I know it's way early. I have the Bucks right now coming out the East. Who do you have coming out the East?
I want to surprise everybody with this statement and say this. Toronto lost probably a top 2 to 3 player in Kawhi Leonard. Someone that gave them a go-to player. But they didn't lose but one player. So with the East being as weak as it is,
they lost Danny Green too. Now they lost their best shooter.
They lost a good shooter, but Danny Green, he's a complimentary player. He's not a world beater. So I still think Toronto will be a top 3 team in the East, but I do agree with you when you say Milwaukee because we've yet to see the best of Giannis. He won the MVP this year. But I think Giannis is one of those players that continuously drives himself. He's an old school player in a new school world where he doesn't want to be your best friend. He doesn't want to shake your hand after the game. He wants to win at all costs. And I think that's what drives Milwaukee right now. Keeping Mr. Middleton was one of the best moves that they made because that gives it spread the floor and it lets Giannis be what he can do. He can drive, he can shoot, he can post. So that gives him that opportunity. One of the things that hurt Milwaukee, a lot of people didn't see it, but I think losing. Right now, I'm overlooking his name, but I know his number is 13.
Oh, Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon.
I think that was a puzzling.
They played a lot without him, though. So I mean, they got there without him. He came on at the end, but they pretty much got through the whole season without him.
That's true. He was injured throughout the season, but I think he was a great shooter for them. I think he was also a facilitator, someone that ran the offense for them. But I think Milwaukee will come out of the East. I think they will be returning Eastern Conference champs. But I don't think they have the mojo or enough on that team to compete with
the West.
With the West.
All right, so going to the West, I'll go ahead and give my way early prediction. Right now, I do have the Clippers favorite to win the West, although I'm, of course, going for Russell Westbrook and the Houston Rockets now. I didn't ever like the Rockets, but now I have to. But I do think the Utah Jazz will be the number 1 seed in the West. going into the playoffs?
I will say this. I have to say that I am very happy for Westbrook. I think that pairing him with the offense that Tony runs, as well as having another scorer in James Harden, will make the Houston Rockets a threat. Not saying that they're going to win the West,
Yes.
but I will say this. They can play with anybody. The thing is with Houston, as has always been, can they stop anybody?
That is
They
true.
will have to score 135 a night to win a championship, but they will score 130 a game. So if the other team ain't on point, they can beat them. But I will say this. I think the Jazz will be a surprise head runner in the beginning of the season, but will slowly drizzle away because I don't think Quinn has figured out the NBA yet.
Oh, you don't think the coach got it? I mean, they got a new floor general now who is getting a little old. I do say that, but I think they got the regular season. I don't think he's gonna be able to do it in the playoffs.
You know, I think Donovan Mitchell is probably one of the most underrated players in the NBA. I think he's a very skilled shooter, driver. We all know he's always a high flyer coming out of college, but I don't think they have that. Utah has always been great throughout the regular season, even going back to the old school, Karl Malone and Stockton, but they never could finish. They don't have that mindset of a killer.
I mean, you had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen on the other side, so I mean, you can't fault them for being second place.
Well, I hate to bring this up because I know you are a career Bulls fan, but I'm still wondering how Michael didn't get called for that push off on Brian Russell.
Brian Russell slipped. That's what happened. That was what they said in the 2-minute report. He slipped.
No, he caught a forearm to his chest, but we're gonna skip over that and we're gonna talk about.
Let's talk about the Battle of LA. I mean, I already told you I think the Clippers are my favorites way early to pretty much win the championship. And I know you are. I'm a LeBron fan too, but I know you're a big LeBron James fan. So I can assume you're gonna say the Lakers are the better team in LA.
I'm gonna say right now it's a push, Clifton. I know it's gonna be hard for you to digest that. I don't see right now. Everybody puts the Lakers number one. I don't see that. I think they're pretty even teams. But what I will say is this: you have a true finisher, game changer in LeBron James, someone that can take over a series.
Yep.
And make it his.
He's getting old though.
He is getting up in age, but we all know that he is methodical about taking care of his body and taking
Except
time
on
to
Tuesdays,
rest.
because apparently he has this thing about Taco Tuesday.
Yes, it's something new for LeBron now. He does eat a lot of tacos, but
I love it too. I love his Taco Tuesdays.
we don't say this. I think Kawhi hasn't made it to that stage of a game changer yet, but if he takes another step, he could be in the Western Conference Finals. But it's the supporting cast that I look at.
I know you're not a big AD fan, although we both probably say AD is a top 10 player in the league. What do you see the starting lineup in LA is? Because Rondo not really that guy that really likes coming off the bench.
Right now, he will be the starting point guard because we really don't have nobody else to play the starting point guard. We traded away Lonzo Ball. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me and think that was a great trade for them because it got AD. Once again, I think AD is a top 10 player. I think he is a big that has guard skills.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to see a healthy Lonzo Ball play with LeBron. But with that said, I think Rondo is probably one of the most underrated winningest point guards in the NBA. He doesn't get the respect that he should get because
He
He's a clown.
spit on people.
Yeah, he's a very disrespectful clown that sometimes take winning to another step. So if Rondo can come out and be led by somebody like LeBron,
He can't shoot though either. That's another problem.
but the thing is, he is a great facilitator. With LeBron on the wings, AD on the wings, Kyle Kuzma on the wings, we don't need him to shoot. We need him to be a pure
But
point guard.
none of those players you said can shoot from outside though. Those aren't 3-point shooters though.
Cliff, I'm going to stop you right there because, one of the things that LeBron has worked on throughout his career in the last 5 years, LeBron has been one of the top power forwards in the league with 3-point shooting now.
I mean, but I would let LeBron shoot threes all day if he's going to be the one to take them.
But we're not. I think really, we both know LeBron is going to be player coach this year.
Wow. So are you saying that the coach already is a lame duck coach?
Frank Vogel was a lame duck coach when they interviewed him. You look at the staff that the Lakers built. You look at what Jenny Buss, Rob Pelinka put together.
What about
he was one bad time out away from Jason Kidd being the head coach.
Do you think that quitter Magic Johnson had some input in this coaching staff? I still call him a quitter. He is a quitter because he did quit.
We go back a few episodes where we discussed the Magic quitting thing. I don't think Magic quit on the Lakers. I think the Lakers quit on Magic. And I think Magic saw that he could be a better influence and be Magic again by walking away. And we all know that the AD trade and all the influences of all the things that people coming to LA is because of who? Magic. When Kawhi wanted a meeting with the Lakers, he said, I want to talk to Magic. He didn't say he wanted to talk to Jerry Buss. He didn't say he wanted to talk to Rob Pelinka. He didn't say he wanted to speak to LeBron. He said he wanted to talk to Magic.
But they also said because Magic keep running his mouth is the reason that Kawhi was like, nah, we're going to X them out the running.
I think it would have been, I don't really think it would have been a great fit with Kawhi trying to be Kawhi in Lakerland. I think Clippers was a great fit for Kawhi. I think it fits his personality. I think it fits his game. And I'm not a big man. I'm not a person that's high up on Doc Rivers as a championship coach.
Doc is a great coach.
But I will say this. Doc will be somebody that will be able to facilitate and run plays that will make Kawhi a better player. So, with that said, I still think the Lakers have an edge because of the talent and because of the surrounding players that they put around LeBron. I don't see that on the Clippers. I see Kawhi having a solid team, but I don't see him having enough people to go out there and be world beaters.
I think the Clippers will be the best defensive team in the NBA. They got some horses on defense.
I will have to agree with you with that. I understand Kawhi is a 5'2" player. You bring over somebody in Paul George who, to me, is a hide-and-go-seek player.
Wow.
But I will say that he is a great defensive player in the league.
Pat Beverly.
And to me, the defensive player of the year, Patrick Beverly can guard from a 5 to a 1. He doesn't, the worst games that KD had in the playoffs was against who?
KD gave him 50, though, also.
He gave him 50, but it was more of Patrick Beverly losing who Patrick Beverly was when he got to 50. We all know Patrick Beverly ain't a tough guy. KD ain't a tough guy.
I think Patrick Beverly a little tough. He's from Southside Chicago. He's pretty tough.
He might have a little tough in him, but, that don't work in the NBA no more.
Got another question for you. I know you're a Nuggets fan. The Nuggets,
I am a Nuggets fan.
They bringing a whole team back, so they going to have the best chemistry out of anybody in the West. Can they get to the conference finals this year?
One thing that me and you discussed outside of your show, can they get their center to be a center?
Yes.
If they can get him to be a center and post up and put his back to the goal, Denver can be a team to be reckoned with. But the thing is, once again, in this new wave of NBA, we have centers that want to shoot threes, want to be outside in the top of the paint, not running pick and rolls and setting screens, but looking for a ball to shoot. Denver had this problem in the play. We both watched that game
They should have
where
won.
they could have won the game if they easily made him go down and play 5 instead of playing a 2. So that's a question we can't answer. If the coach can't make him do it, then they ain't gonna be nothing but they can be the number 1 seed again and still gonna go home in the first round.
Yeah, they definitely that'll suck being number 1 and out in the first round, and I think that's possible in the West this year. I think the number 1 seed could be in danger depending on who's where.
But I want to touch on something, Cliff, before we get off here. I want to know why is there so much disrespect from you, from the talking heads, about Portland? Why is nobody talking about Portland in the West?
Because Portland, like I've always said, you can't have 2 guards under 6'3" and be a championship team. That's just the history of the NBA. The last team that was able to do that back in the old school was Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. And that was old school basketball. These guys nowadays, they're not gonna be able to do that and win. Cause one, those 2 guys in Portland, they can't take the punishment that Isaiah and Joe used to take. It's not gonna happen. Too small,
Well,
and I don't think their center. He's nice and skilled, but I just don't think he has it in him either to be that workhorse down low. He likes to kind of pop and pick a lot.
I think Portland is always going to be a top 5 team in the West. I kind of agree with you about the size of their guards. I think C.J. McCollum and Dame Lillard are 1 and 2 on that team, but
They're real good players, but just can't do it.
The thing is Dame Lillard will never be able to force them to a championship because you can't have a facilitator be a facilitator but yet be a scorer. You can't score 50 and then assist on 3 plays. It has to be some kind of middle ground, and he'll never be that player. They have to somehow try to find a point guard. Either him or C.J. McCullough are point guards. They're 2 guards. They run them as point guards, but they're not point guards. So until you find that person on that team, until they go out and try to find that person, maybe trade for that person and get somebody and put them in. If I was a coach, I'm running Dame Lillard as a 2 and C.J. McCullough as a 3. Although
CJ's not big enough to play 3.
But you would have to switch off on defense. That's what I was going to say, Cliff. They're not big enough, but they would give people problems on offense because who going to run up and down the court with them? You put a 3 on C.J. McCullough, he going to score 30.
Well, I don't know, cause see, you can put people like Paul George on C.J. McCullough and shut him down. He's not that athlete, I don't think. I mean, he's a real good shooter, just not athlete. I just don't think Portland is. They're not a championship team. I mean, it's a lot of teams back in the old days, like Reggie Miller, one of the best players of all time. Unfortunately, he never got to that point to win that title. It just happens, and CJ probably going to be the same way. Now, Dame, I'm sorry, is the same way. McCullough got a chance to probably get out his contract and go get on with a winner in the next couple of years.
I'm glad you touched on that point because I see that in his future. I don't think he will ever. As bad as I hate to say this, I don't think they will ever be the dynamic duo as people want them to be because I think their personalities are so different. And I think C.J. McCullough is seeing the light at the end of the tunnel close quickly on Portland's championship chances because you can't have 2 alpha dogs and 1 ball. Somebody got to control the ball, and one of the things is I saw in the playoffs was we didn't know who was going to have the ball. Everybody thought Dame was going to get the ball, and CJ. Half of the time, Dame took the ball and he shot, but we want to talk about the miracle shot he hit against Oklahoma City, but where was the miracle shots later on in the playoffs?
Hey, Dame is the alpha on that team. He's the leader, but we're going to see a lot of that because all the teams got dynamic duos. So before I get you off of here, I know you're a golf guy. Looks like Tiger Woods is almost on his way home. +7 today, and the leader was at -5, so it's going to be a miracle for him to make up those strokes. What you think about the Open over there across the water?
Cliff, I think we spoke about this earlier today off your show, and I'm disappointed that Tiger would come out after not playing any warm up tournaments and put up this kind of numbers. I think it's a tarnishing of his legacy because I don't think his heart is in it anymore. I think Tiger has finally realized that this game has passed him by. I say that with a slightly broken heart because we've never saw anyone like him before, not in our generation, and we probably won't ever see anybody like him again.
The best golfer of all time.
That had the competitive edge, the hunger, and the want to win. I think he's at a point in his career now where there's nothing left for him to do. He's won them all. He's done it all. So I think now it's time for him to take a step back and look at it and say, I'm not what I used to be. And that's the one thing that hurts a lot of athletes is we don't know when to say it's over. And watching his body language today at the British show at the Open, it hurt my heart to see him quit. I've never saw Tiger Woods quit. In all the years I've watched him play golf, from Stanford as an amateur to a professional to now, it was like he wasn't even there today. So my thing is, if you're going to do the tour, set your tournaments up where you can be competitive. Don't go out and tarnish your legacy because you are the greatest golfer I've ever saw walk a course.
So go ahead, finish.
He has to figure out what he wants to do. If you want to play half of the tournaments, play half of the tournaments. Play only the majors. But he got to figure out how he got to warm himself up. He's not a young cat anymore, so he has to figure out what he got to do with that.
And that's what I was gonna say. What you just hit on, you hit the nail on the head. My old man, my father is 62 years old, and what he's figured out is that he has to be active every day. And as long as he's active every day, he's feeling good. His body's moving. It sounds to me like Tiger really needs to play more tournaments. Because once he finally get his body moving and he's playing these tournaments and getting this energy going, seems like that'll help him along because he'll play one tournament, be off a month, go play another tournament. I just don't think he's playing enough competitive golf.
I think Tiger is doing what people think he should do instead of what Tiger wants to do. Until he figures that out, he'll be a shell of himself. Leading up to the Masters and when he came back and made them roar, he played 4 tournaments leading up to the Masters. His body got accumulated to with the walking, to the swings, to his pace of game. He took a 2-week vacation in Thailand prior to going over here to the Open. His body has not accumulated to the time change. His body hasn't accumulated to the jet lag. He's not ready to play golf, but he felt an obligation to play golf for the people. The thing that Tiger
and that check he gonna get.
Yeah, exactly. He gets, unlike other golfers, Tiger Woods gets an appearance fee for any tournament he plays in the world. So he likes the money, but you can't go out to the money if you ain't ready to play, because the one thing we can say now is, in 97, 96, when he was destroying the game, he played every tournament.
Yep.
Now he picks and chooses what tournaments he wants to play. His body is cold. His skills are cold. So those skills have to be accumulated and stacked up to get ready to play. He's not ready. Maybe. I give him one more major before he hangs it up.
Maybe he needs to add some extracurricular activities back to his life, because during that time he was doing pretty good.
Well, it worked for him then, so he got him 15 majors, so we might see that. But I think time for Tiger to hone the skills over to his youngest son and start training him to be the next master. But I think Tiger has done enough. I don't think he has nothing else to prove.
This podcast does not condone any inappropriate relationships. Just a PSI announcement.
Thank you for clearing it up, Cliff.
Hey, it was great having you on the show this week. We're going to start getting you on the show a little more when your schedule clears up because, of course, you're a busy guy. So, coming up for this weekend, it's going to be really hot out there. Give me a nice, quick menu that someone could do on a nice Saturday around the pool with the fam.
I think if you're looking for something that's going to keep it cool this week, we're going to take it old school for you and give you something that sometimes you crave, but you can't have, but it got to be the right season to get it. So I'll take you back and say, we're not going to do a dish. We're going to take you back and do you a nice drink. We're going to say, how about you break out the blender, get you some nice fruit, doesn't matter if it's watermelon, mango, strawberry, and make yourself a nice margarita.
Hey, that sounds real good right now, especially down here in the deep south of Texas. Sounds real good.
I think that'll cool you down to your core and you'll be right on. You wouldn't even worry about the food if you put your chase up Patron on top of it.
Hey, we only condone drinking for those over the age of 21 on this podcast also.
That's correct, Cliff. We never want to condone any underage drinking.
Hey, it was great having you on the show this week, Chef. Much obliged. We appreciate your time. Don't forget to call in next time, sir.
Cliff, always a pleasure, man. I thank you, and I look forward to it the next time.
And you just heard the chef call in to help with our NBA free agency breakdown. We'll be right back with you in one moment on Off the Cliff Sports. Don't go anywhere. Back on Off the Cliff Sports with you. Thank you for listening to this episode. NFL talk. Told you guys I wouldn't leave you out. I'll give you a little bit today. Big news in the NFL. Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City Chiefs will not be disciplined by the NFL, shockingly. They didn't have enough evidence from his personal issues, to discipline him. Congratulations, Tyreek. Also, after meeting with Goodell, Ezekiel Elliott will not be disciplined either, so the Cowboys can have a sigh of relief and hopefully they can get through their season with not too many problems. The NFL offseason, for the most part, has been overshadowed because of the NBA. The NBA kind of revved it up and took the forefront. But I can tell you, of course, they have the new pass interference challenge that's going to be really interesting. Pretty much giving teams another timeout. That'll start this year. I see, of course, Mr. Brown has left Pittsburgh and has gone to Oakland. So, new threads for him to start the season out. And for all the Cowboy fans out there, Dak Prescott is still negotiating contract. Are you going to pay Dak that $30 to $35 million, or are you going to let him walk? That's a tough question that Jerry and Stephen Jones have to figure out. I don't know if Dak's a franchise quarterback, to be honest with you. When he came in the draft, I personally wanted my team to take him, but I don't know if he's got that it factor. We shall see. One of the big news coming into the season that'll be talked about once training camp start here in the next week or two. Tom Brady, no Rob Gronkowski. I don't think it'll hurt a lot in the regular season, Brady not having Gronk, but playoff time is when Gronk shows up a lot for Brady. One big play here or there, just like in the Super Bowl. 2 big catches won the Super Bowl. They'll win the East most likely because the East is horrible in the AFC. But I don't know if Tom got it in him this year. A lot of people told me no, never bet against him. I'm not betting either way for it. So a lot of good things. It's going to be great once training camp start. The show Hard Knocks is going to be really good with Oakland being the team. I think it's probably going to have some of its highest ratings in a long time. They have a lot of characters. The coach is a character. They got Brown on the team. AB's a character. You got Carr, their current quarterback, but if you ask me, I think he's in a lame duck status. I don't think David Carr will be quarterback next year. So I'm gonna have to rev up my football too because, of course, I play a lot of fantasy football like millions and millions do. So I gotta start reading up, trying to figure out who I'm gonna get to make this team a champion again in fantasy. Drew Lock, the Denver Broncos, my team. Their core, they finally signed Lock's contract. It was a little holdout, little tension there, but we got it done. I think he has a little ways to go though. So NFL is coming up fast and furious. I'm definitely going to get some other guys on to give some analysis and their take over the league. So be looking forward to that on the upcoming episodes, and we're going to get deep into it. NBA just took over right now. That's the only thing. Guys, we're going to come back, quote of the day, and get you out of here. Off the Cliff Sports. Stay with me. Our quote of the day on Off the Cliff Sport this week is going to be both sentimental and inspirational. It comes from Ross Perot. Most people give up just when they're about to achieve success. They quit on the 1 yard line. They give up at the last minute of the game, 1 foot from a winning touchdown. Again, most people give up just when they're about to achieve success. They quit on the 1 yard line. They give up at the last minute of the game, 1 foot from a winning touchdown. Again, that quote came from Ross Perot. It's been great getting back with you after vacation, folks. Be sure to continue to tune in, tweet me, email me, hit me on Instagram, but more importantly, share the podcast with your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, and everyone else. I do thank you, all my Everyday Janes, Everyday Joes. You have a great rest of your night, day, whenever you decide to listen to it. Cliff Jack signing off. Until next time, peace.